The Forgotten Village. Chapter 1. The Village in the Mist. I had never meant to find a village. It wasn't on any map. It wasn't on any GPS. But that morning, when the fog rolled in and I lost the trail, I saw it. At first, I thought it was a mirage. Dozens of small wooden huts, shrouded in mist. A crumbling church tower rising above the treeline. And the faint echo of a bell, distant, hollow, impossible. The forest had been silent for hours before that. No birds, no insects, no wind. Only the sound of my boots sinking into the wet soil. Now, there was something else, the faint sound of laughter. I froze. The sound came from ahead, soft and playful like children. But when I called out, it stopped. Only the mist answered. I should have turned back. But curiosity has teeth. It bites and drags you forward when you should run. So I kept walking. The village gates were broken, half buried under ivy and moss. A sign hung loosely on one hinge, its paint long faded. I brushed the grime away. The letters were in a language I didn't recognize. The wood beneath my fingers was warm. Too warm. I stepped through the gate. The fog thickened instantly. The air smelled like rot and old smoke. The houses were empty, roofs caved in, doors hanging open. But everything inside looked frozen in time. Plates still on tables, clothes still drying by the hearth. I whispered to myself, what happened here? My voice sounded too loud, swallowed by the mist. A sudden gust blew through the village, carrying with it a faint whisper. A word I couldn't understand, but it made the hair on my neck rise. I walked deeper between houses. Each one looked the same, abandoned, untouched, and yet not empty. There was a feeling, a presence, watching, waiting. I found a small well in the center of the square. The water was still, reflecting the pale sky. When I leaned over it, I saw my face and another behind me. I spun around. No one. The laughter came again, closer this time. I ran toward it, heart pounding, flashlight trembling in my hand. It led me to a small schoolhouse at the edge of the village. The door was open. Inside, rows of tiny desks were covered in dust. Children's drawings still hung on the walls, stick figures, suns, and trees. But every face in the drawings had been scratched out. The chalkboard was covered in symbols, circles, eyes, spirals, the same I'd seen carved into the gate. And below them, one word written in English. Listen. Then I heard again, the bell. Louder, closer. It came from a church. Something told me not to go, but I couldn't stop myself. The church stood crooked, its doors half open. As I stepped inside, the air grew heavy and cold. Candles burned on. The altar, fresh wax still dripping. Someone had been here recently. The pews were covered in dust except for one, the front row. A single book lay open on it. I walked closer, drawn like a moth, to a flame. The book was a journal. The first line read, "The mist took them first." Pages followed, filled with shaky handwriting. Words like voices, shadows, and the well. Then a final entry, scrawled in red ink. They come at sundown. If you hear the bell, it's already too late. I froze. The bell rang again, loud, right above me. I looked up. The tower door creaked open. Something moved up there, slow, deliberate. Footsteps descended the stairs, scraping wood. I backed away, heart racing, the sound growing louder. Then I saw it, a figure in the doorway. Tall, thin. Its face was covered by a white mask. Its eyes, two holes filled with black mist. It whispered my name. I didn't think. I ran, out the door, through the fog, into the streets. The bell screamed behind me like it was alive. Every window in the village lit up at once. Inside each one, silhouettes. Hundreds of them, watching. I didn't stop until I reached the gate. When I turned around, the village was gone. Only fog and trees remained. But the sound of the bell followed me all the way back to the trail. That night, I didn't sleep. I could still hear it, ringing in my head. And when I closed my eyes, I saw that mask and the empty black inside it. I told myself I'd never go back. But 3 days later, I found the journal in my backpack. I hadn't packed it. On the last page, new words were written in fresh ink. You left too soon. Chapter 2, The Survivor. 3 nights had passed since I left the village. But the sound never stopped. Every night at the same time, the bell would ring. Soft at first, then louder, until it filled my dreams. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping. Every shadow outside my window looked like the man in the mask. Every gust of wind carried the faint laughter of children. I told myself it was madness, that I had imagined it all. But the journal sat on my table, its pages fluttering though there was no wind. And on the last page, the ink kept changing. That morning, it said, "Come back before sundown." I stared at the words for a long time. Then I packed my bag and went back. The forest was different now. The fog came earlier, thicker. The trees looked older, taller, leaning inward as if to watch me. I followed my footprints from days ago, though half of them had already vanished. By noon, the world had gone silent again. Even the birds refused to sing. The only sound was the crunch of my boots and my breathing. Then, faintly, the bell. It guided me like a heartbeat. I didn't have to look for the village. It found me. The mist thinned, revealing wooden rooftops and broken fences. It looked the same as before. Only this time, I wasn't alone. Shadows moved between the houses. Slow, patient watching. I tightened my grip on my flashlight and kept walking. The well was still there, its water black, still and endless. The reflection showed not one face, but two. I whispered Orin, though I didn't know who that was anymore. A faint whisper rose from the well. Not words, just breathing. Then soft laughter close behind me. I turned. No one. The air felt wrong again, heavy, electric. My ears popped. The mist began to move, swirling like water stirred by unseen hands. And through it, I saw the church. Its bell tower stood tall again, fully rebuilt. The door was closed this time, and from inside, a candle flickered. I should have run, but I walked forward. The door creaked open as I reached for it. The smell hit me first, smoke, incense, and iron. The pews were filled now. Figures sat motionless, heads bowed, faces hidden. A priest stood at the altar. His robes were torn, his skin pale as ash. He turned to face me. His eyes were hollow. "Welcome back," he said. My throat tightened. "What do you want?" He smiled faintly. "You took what wasn't yours." I didn't take anything. He stepped closer. The congregation rose behind him in perfect silence. Each face wore that same white mask. Each pair of eyes, empty black mist. The priest extended his hand. The bell calls those who leave unfinished. The sound began again, deep, thunderous. Inside my skull, my vision blurred. I stumbled backward. The floor moved under me, soft, shifting. It was breathing again. The church was alive. The masks turned toward me. In unison, they whispered, "Listen." The bell above screamed, cracking the air. And then the world shattered. I woke on the ground outside. The church was gone. The fog was lifting. Sunlight filtered through. The trees. I sat up dazed. My flashlight lay beside me, broken. The journal was gone. But around my wrist was something new, a red string tied tightly. The air smelled fresh for the first time in days. Birds were singing again. The forest felt alive, but different. When I turned to look back, the village was fading. The huts melted into the fog like ghosts dissolving into memory. Only the sound of the bell remained, softer now, gentler. I took one step forward, and the ground held. Another, and the forest welcomed me. I walked until I saw sunlight again, and for the first time in days, I could breathe. When I reached the main road, there was a car parked by the edge. An old man stood beside it. He looked at me like he had been waiting forever. "You came out," he said. I nodded slowly. "You knew." He smiled sadly. "Nobody ever does." I glanced back. "What is that place?" He looked toward the trees. A promise broken. He handed me a small item, a brass key with a bell carved into it. "Keep it," he said. "It means the forest let you go." Then he walked away without another word. I stood there until he disappeared into the fog. When I looked at the key again, I noticed something engraved on it. 2 words, "Never listen." My hand trembled. I put it in my pocket and began to walk. The world felt normal again. Cars, distant voices, sunlight. But every now and then the air shifted, and I swore I could still hear the bell. That night, I sat by the window, unable to sleep. The red string on my wrist pulsed, faintly with warmth. Outside, the trees swayed gently in the wind, and somewhere far away, deep in the forest, a single bell rang once. It wasn't loud. It wasn't menacing. It was peaceful, like a farewell. I closed my eyes. For the first time in days, I smiled. The village was gone, and I was alive. But sometimes when the night is quiet enough, I think of the children's laughter. I think of the priest's hollow eyes. And I wonder if the bell still rings for me. Maybe it always will. Maybe some places don't die, they wait. And maybe the ones who survive carry a piece of the mist with them forever. I don't fear it anymore. I've seen what waits behind the fog. I walk through it and come back. And I know now, some memories are meant to haunt, not hurt. The morning light touched my face. The world was still. The red string glowed once more, then faded into nothing. The mist was gone. I took a deep breath and whispered into the quiet forest. Thank you. The leaves rustled as if answering, and the last echo of the bell drifted away on the wind.